Hey everybody, this is the Facebook Ads with a Twang podcast. I'm your host Ben Blackman, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why marrying your business to Facebook is a huge mistake. Here comes episode 85. Facebook Ads with a Twang is dedicated to taking the often overcomplicated process of creating simple, successful Facebook ads, breaking them down step by step in less than 10 minutes at a time. Let's get started. All right, welcome everybody to episode 85. I'm glad to be back with you, and I'm going to be talking about something that's, to me, it's really important, okay? And every day I see this more and more and more. and that is, I see businesses tying themselves to Facebook, whether it's Facebook ads or organic or whatever, but they're literally basing their entire business on what they do from Facebook. And I talk about this a lot, but I really want to bring it up again because I have talked to several Facebook experts and so forth who that's what they specialize in, and they don't really do anything else. So when somebody hires them to do their ads or something, they don't track on other platforms, so they can't do anything. If Facebook went down for the day or a week or a month or whatever happens, they couldn't advertise anywhere else, or they wouldn't immediately be able to get up and running somewhere else, or they don't have any traction anywhere else. And so I'm just going to kind of be talking a little bit about that, and I made a lot of notes. So I want to make sure I cover everything. So what do I mean by marrying yourself to Facebook? Well, it's real simple. It's like I said, if Facebook goes down and you're married to Facebook, meaning you get all your traffic from there, or 90% of your traffic, or even 80%, if Facebook goes down, then so does your business. And that's not a good business model any way you look at it. And I love Facebook ads, right? I love them. They're awesome. It's not like I'm saying something's going to happen today or tomorrow, but inevitably, sooner or later, something will. When you tie yourself to anybody, to any platform or any marketing system or anything like that, and that's your only means of production of getting more clients or more making more sales, then you've got to realize the platform's in control. You're not. You're essentially at their mercy. So and you can imagine this. So you log in one day and your business page or your ad account is gone. I've seen that happen. Right? You log in, everything was going fine, and you don't know what happened, and you can't get it back. It's not like you can just call somebody and say, "Oh, what happened?" and they're going to tell you, "Oh, well, this happened, so you got to do this." That's not the way it works at all. Okay, so essentially, if you have things that say Facebook itself took away from you, your recourse is, unless you have a huge ad spend already, your recourse is very, very small. You don't have a lot that you can do about that. So you have to be extremely careful with how much emphasis you put on any given platform. And I'm not talking about just Facebook. You could be doing Twitter ads, right? It's the same situation. It doesn't matter. Or YouTube ads or whatever. Or online ads, period. What if they all go away? That could happen. There was a time when there were no online ads, right? And so there's a lot of forces at work. So I want to tell you just a quick story. And I think I've mentioned this before, but I used to have a mortgage company, and man, we did a lot of business. And I was even doing Google ads and stuff back then. In fact, that's how I kind of got my start and everything. And just somehow I made those work. I don't remember how, but I did. And we were just going like gangbusters. But I had really put all my emphasis on direct mail. And one day I came into the office, and literally overnight, all the deals that I had closing for that month and that day were gone. Okay, they were gone. And it had to do with the whole mortgage. And if you know anything about the mortgage market crisis and the things that happened, it had to do with the subprime lenders. It's not like that they are the only ones that went down. The prime lenders, at the time were going down too. So if you had loans at any of these given mega companies that should never have gone under, or it's almost inconceivable that they would go under, well, they went under, And so, people are sitting there at a closing table wanting to buy their house, and there's no money. right? And I mean, it happened in one day. Now, there was more to it, and other things happened precipitating that and after the fact, of course. But that literally happened overnight that we didn't know it was going to happen. So, I'm like, okay, well, I'm freaking out. And I go back out and I'm like, well, I'll just, I'll put loans with other lenders, right? I'll just, I'll get them redone. I'll do this, I'll do that. So didn't work that way, right? I sent out more direct mail pieces. Way fewer people responded. Okay, I didn't have any leverage because I wasn't advertising anywhere else. So I couldn't go somewhere else and put my ad budget somewhere. I had relied on one sole method of getting people in, and then I had relied on one sole method of getting these loans closed, right? And that just wasn't a very sound thing to do. And looking back on it, of course it was crazy. I mean, why would you do that? Well, that's what I did. And I just want to put this out there. I totally understand when you're starting a business that you don't have, you don't need to spread yourself too thin. 100% agree with that. So if you're just getting started, that's fine, right? Do what you got to do. Just prepare for more than that. And really, if you're starting a business and you're really wanting to make it a business, you really do have to start it with the end in mind, right? You need to have a plan so that you know which direction you're going to go. Hey, I'm going to grow this much, and I'm going to keep, because that's what a business is. A business isn't just, hey, I'm going to run a couple of Facebook ads to see if I can get somebody to buy my widget or sign up for my service and see what happens. That's not a business. And that's okay. If that's where you are, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that's not really a business. Okay, that's a job. Okay, so because you're reliant upon that, right? You're at the mercy of something else. So nothing can run automatically there. So and I hope I don't sound preachy on it. I'm just trying to emphasize what goes on. So there have been a lot of recent shutdowns for literally no reason on Facebook ad accounts, and this happens. Okay, that's normal. Like I just saw somebody. I was reading in one of my groups I'm in, where a guy who sells guitar lessons, of all things, his account got shut down. Like, and he can't get it back. I mean, guitar lessons. I mean, I can't think of anything more benign than that, right? It's not inflammatory. It's not something that that's out there that you're promising, people are going to make a bunch of money or lose a bunch of weight or whatever. I mean, it's guitar lessons, but yet it's gone, and he doesn't really have any way to get it back. So that's kind of my point to all that. Essentially, counting on one lead source is never a good idea, which that's where I'm getting, so because it leaves you so vulnerable. So what can happen? Well, government changes, right? And I'm not talking about just in the U.S., but I'm going to speak to the U.S. in particular. I mean, that could be federal changes. It could be state or local changes that could impact how you're doing ads. It absolutely can. There could be taxes or fees that come into play that make that we're not aware of, that could happen later on, that can make your return on investment go way down, and it's no longer viable. I mean, that can happen. Those things are going to happen. You have to plan for those. It's okay. That's part of business. There doesn't have to be drama with it. You just plan for it. There could be internal Facebook changes. Facebook's under a lot of scrutiny, and there's at this point there's a lot of talk where these companies are going to get broken up and blah blah blah, and they don't know, and I don't know, nobody knows for sure. So Facebook could come back with some internal changes that make whatever it is that you're doing, you can't do it anymore, right? So you just have to be aware of that. And then there's always the unknowns, and there's so many unknowns that they're just unknowns. Okay, that's why you have to plan. Nothing's perfect. So what I'm going to talk to you about is how to really kind of insulate yourself to some degree. Okay, this is not perfect, and if you're going to stay with Facebook solely for a while, that's okay. But I'm going to tell you how to take that and really use it to your advantage and make sure you insulate yourself. So always collect emails. All right, and what I mean by that is a lot of people jumping on the bot train and have been for the past couple of years or so. And that's great. Facebook bots are great, and I love them and everything. But remember, when you use a bot, you're still marrying yourself to Facebook. When you collect an email, now at least you've got it somewhat into your control, right? You can get it into your email service provider's system. You can then download that list and keep it, right, in case your email service provider went down or whatever. You have control there. But with bots, you don't. If you don't have Facebook, you don't have it. Right, it's just that simple. Or if the Facebook bot company somehow gets banned, okay, it happens and has happened. Right, if it gets banned for one reason or another, if your Facebook business page gets banned, then those leads are essentially gone. Okay, so the money is really in your email list. Just don't be fooled by what I call bot mania. Okay, there's a place for it, and it's a great addition to what you're doing, but it's not the end-all be-all. Collect as much information as soon as you can with your leads. What I mean by that is you want to collect their name, their mailing address, yeah, and their phone number as soon as you can. Okay, and any other information you can collect, but that's the primary thing, because you know, whether you know it or not, direct mail works. It absolutely 100% works, and now it actually works better, right? How much stuff are you getting in the mail that's what we, you know, that's more of a direct sales letter, right? I'm not talking about these little postcards you get and these kind of crappy things that you get from the cable companies or something like that. I'm talking about real direct mail that generates sales. Not much. So when people get a piece of mail, especially if they're using non-traditional mail, you know, I tell people all the time, I used to mail out pill bottles, right? I used to mail out basketballs. I used to mail out bank bags. Like I'd buy a bunch of bank bags and I'd put stamps on it and label it and send it out just like that, you know. I mean, you're going to open that. So direct mail absolutely works. It's another way to get in front of people. You've got their phone number now. You can text them, right? Potentially. It depends on, you know, how you acquired it. You obviously had to get their consent to do that. But you could potentially call them as well. I mean, it depends on, you know, the scenario there. So my point is diversify your marketing as much as you can. Don't try to do everything. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Especially, you know, if you're at the point where you haven't hired an agency, and I'm talking about a legit agency. I'm not talking about somebody that just does Facebook ads. I mean, that's great and that's good, but that's scary. That's a scary place to be. What I want you to do is pick one or two other ways to master, two other marketing methods to master other advertising platforms. So it could be YouTube ads, it could be Yahoo, it could be Twitter. I mean, Google Display, Taboola. I mean, it could be any of those, right? And what you want to do is go ahead and set up the tracking for them now, even if you're not planning on using it immediately, because now it can start acquiring the data. So just to kind of give you an example, whether you know this or not, if you do Google ads, unless you've spent about $50,000 in advertising, you cannot upload your email list to Google like you can with Facebook. So until you've spent that enough money. Well, the problem there is that, you know, maybe you've been relying on uploading your email list to Facebook and retargeting that way. Well, that's going to be an issue for you. So you set up the tracking, you learn how to do it, you set up the tracking, and now at least you're collecting it through the various ways, the pixels from Google, right? So you do that. You know, maybe you try to do direct mail. As you know, I'm passionate about direct mail. Love it. It's awesome. If you're at the local level, maybe you look at some TV advertising, radio billboards. I mean, those things do work, right? It's not like they don't work. You just have to make sure you do them right. And it's not right for every business, right? So I can't cover every single business. You have to pick what's right for you. And the last thing that's really, really important is to develop JV partnerships. Okay, so these might be people that are similar or would be marketing to your same audience, right? But they sell something different, and you guys can have a joint venture where you can piggyback your offers with each other and that kind of thing. I mean, hugely important. So I know this was a lot more than about just Facebook ads, but I really wanted to bring that up just because the more I talk to people, and especially the more Facebook, you know, marketing experts or whatever that come into the marketplace, who may not have that experience, right, of losing a business literally overnight like you can. I just wanted to make you aware of it. Again, there doesn't have to be drama around any of this, right? This is business. This is how it works. Okay, this is what it means to be in business. I mean, if I heard something on Brooke Castillo's Life Coach School podcast where she was basically talking about, you know, how she works. You know, she takes 2 days off a week, right? But and I think most people that follow her know that. But one of the things that she was talking about, she's like, if your purpose in your business is to try to figure out how you can work less, you know, how you can do that, then you're probably not going to put in enough effort to ever get to that point, because then your goal is you're trying to work less, but and the only way to do that is to work more. So it's a conflict, and you can never reconcile that in your brain. Therefore, you never actually get to that point. So you have to have a different reason, a different why to do that. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Okay. So anyway, I hope all that was helpful and made sense. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Now, this is the kind of thing I like to talk about over at my Marketing with the Twang membership. You can see it at marketingwiththetwang.com. I'd love for you to come join us. I have some new and exciting things that are coming up, and I'm looking forward to sharing those. So I will see you guys on episode number 86. Hey, if you enjoy this podcast, then you have to check out Marketing with the Twang. It's my monthly membership where we take all the material from this podcast, combine it with finding and creating the perfect funnel that will attract your dream clients. Then we take it to the next level by using multiple marketing methods way beyond Facebook. Check it out at marketingwiththetwang.com.